So we got sports drama. Stephen A. Smith was finally confronted by LeBron James in person at the Lakers game last night, courtside, in front of thousands of people. And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because there is this weird thing in media that many of us spectators have noticed for years now, where these commentators and these sports pundits like a Stephen A. Smith and many others have this weird thing where they feel like they can go online and say whatever they want about these professional athletes, mostly negative, and the athletes have to not only just take it because they make millions of dollars and they signed up for this, but they should even be cordial and respectful when they see people like Stephen A. Smith and others who talk about them on TV. They should be cordial with them when they see them in person. And I'm not gonna lie, I specifically waited for Stephen A. Smith to respond so that I can get a better grasp.
But there was a moment in the game that we want to address.
That was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves. That's what he was doing. And I thought long and hard about this over the last few hours because I had no intentions, Molly, of talking about this at all.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it was a one-on-one, I wouldn't say a conversation, but it was a one-on-one confrontation. But then I wake up and everybody from ESPN and my agent and everybody else were sending me that this thing had gone viral. And so ultimately it was unavoidable, and that is why I have to discuss it now. That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father. And I can't sit here and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in any way in that regard. By all accounts, he's obviously a wonderful family man and a wonderful father who cares very, very deeply about his son. And based on some of the comments that he had heard, or shall I say, I think he thought he heard, he clearly took exception to some of the things that he heard me say, and he confronted me about it. For the record, his agent and friend, Rich Paul, has my number. Maverick Carter, who works under him, has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called, because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call. Had he wanted to see me, I would have flown out and I would have seen him and I would have had a conversation man to man. But that is not what he elected to do. Instead, he elected to confront me while I was sitting courtside. Ari Emanuel, the head of William Morris Endeavor, one of the agencies that represents me, along with Larry David, was sitting courtside. I was with them for the game. And he walked right up to me and he said what he had to say. And apparently he feels like I was slighting his son.
Because the original intent of this video was to bash and go at Stephen A. Smith, which I'm still going to do to an extent in this video. But Stephen A. Smith made a really good point about some fair accountability and criticism that LeBron James deserves based on what he said to him. Let's take a listen.
Now let me tell you what I feel. What I would have said if we were in a different environment, because I was not going to engage in a confrontation at that particular moment in that setting. But if we had had that conversation, I would have said to LeBron James, I never would speak negatively about your son. I was talking about you, meaning you, LeBron James. I have nothing but the best wishes for Bronny James. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that he flourishes into an NBA star. Usually in other sports, we see all-stars, and on occasion, we'll see their children become stars as well. That doesn't really happen with the NBA. I sincerely hope he's the exception. By all accounts, he's a wonderful kid. And I don't know anybody who roots against him, and it certainly isn't me. But in the same breath, at the time that we were talking about him, he was percolating to such a degree that the Bronny James stories had gone viral. And so we had to talk about it. And when I said the things that I said, I wasn't talking about Bronny James because my attitude is he's a rookie. It's going to take some time for him to get himself together. He'll be just fine, especially with J.J. Redick and the staff coaching him. I was talking about the position that he was put in by his dad, because LeBron James has been on the record and he has said, and I'll read the quote here. There was a quote that he gave in February of 2024. The work and results will ultimately do talking, no matter what the size. If y'all don't know, he doesn't care what mock drafts say. He just works, earned, not given, et cetera, et cetera. But he also had said that his son could play on the Lakers right now, and he was better than half the dudes in the NBA. In the aftermath of all of that, he instructed everybody before the draft that y'all want me, draft Bronny. Wherever Bronny is at, that's where I'll be. I'll do whatever it takes to play with my son for a year. It's not about the money at that point. My point months ago was that because of who you are, one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball, in my estimation, there's an immense amount of pressure that comes with that for his son.
I just want to interrupt for just a sec to say, first of all, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you're new to the show, please know we're thirsty to grow and to drink some of this warm water with lemon. You can help us out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to hit that like button for me. Thank you. Please follow us on our other socials as well. Thank you for your support. Listen, nepotism is a real thing, and there's no secret that LeBron James is the reason why Bronny James is in the NBA. But I'm not even fully upset about it, because if I was a father and I was in LeBron James's shoes, I probably would do the same thing. But I also understand the other side's argument that Bronny James was not NBA ready, which I think we can all agree. But they also argue that Bronny James is taking a spot from another player who don't have a dad in the NBA already, who don't have a dad that has the pool. And he's taking the spot from a player like that that's worked their entire life to get that role. So for that, I 100% understand and I respect that argument. But my thing is, Stephen A. Smith deserved this, which, by the way, his body language in person, you can tell that he was caught off guard. Even the way how soft-spoken he was talking today, I was like, Stephen A. Smith got checked. And I like how he differentiated between the player LeBron James and the father LeBron James. And it was clearly the father LeBron James just speaking up to it for his son, which, to be fair, LeBron James, when you're making statements like your son is better than half the players in the league and you'll stop at no cost to play with your son, those are selfish reasons. And to be fair, you put your son in the spotlight to be criticized. Like, I personally believe you're the second greatest player of all time. I do agree with Stephen A. Smith on that. I put MJ as number 1. But here's what's most important, because what's weird about all of this is I was going to make a video about this like a week ago about how people have covered athletes, specifically LeBron James, because Anthony Edwards was recently asked if he wanted to be the face of the league, and he said no. And then LeBron James came out and said, why would he want to be the face of the league when you're going to be criticized and bashed? And
why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that, you know, that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, Channing Frye said it the other day too, like,
nobody celebrates these new people, so why would anybody want to be the face of this league? You're gonna get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 years ago.
And said he don't want it. I mean, obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was gonna follow my journey throughout my career.
He's not lying. Because look at LeBron James in his career. Regardless of how you feel about him personally, Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. Straight up, he's my favorite player ever. And I could remember from high school days back in 2012, 2011, 2010, it was the Kobe versus LeBron debate. But it only took me maybe 2-3 years out of high school to understand basketball better and have common sense to understand that Kobe Bryant can still be my favorite player of all time, and I don't ever see that changing. While also recognizing that LeBron James is not only a better player than Kobe all around, he's a much better player. And we're talking about just common sense when you look at every facet of the game. We love Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant, from a lot of our perspective, did it the hard way, right? He's not as physically gifted. He don't have as many talents as a lot of the players, yet he still was able to accomplish as much as he did, which relates to the common man a lot more than LeBron James. LeBron James, as big as he is, as strong as he is, as fast as he is, as durable as he is, as talented as he is, a lot of us can't relate to that because most humans aren't that physically gifted. But we can relate to a Kobe Bryant, who we also argue didn't leave his team and join a super team, even though Kobe has played on super teams before. It's just a different route to his championships. That's why we love Kobe and the killer mentality. That's why we love Kobe. But when you look at a player like LeBron James and what he's doing right now at 40, if you look at LeBron James's numbers right now, his numbers are even better, even the efficiency. So you can't just say he's just shooting a whole bunch of shots and he's just trying to keep up with the youngins. You can argue he is having one of the best seasons in his career at the age of 40. In year, 22? That's unheard of. But when you look at LeBron James most times in media, he's being bashed. Let that sink in. How can you be as not perfect, but as great of an all-around player? LeBron James is better than 99% of any basketball player that has ever touched a basketball court. Yet he receives more backlash a lot of times than praise. Yes, he gets praise too. But when you look at the headlines, They're talking about the Lakers. And even Charles Barkley called it out like, are y'all going to cover sports and the beautiful stories that's in sports? Or are y'all just going to cover LeBron James, do this silly LeBron MJ debate, talk about Steph and the Warriors, when you got teams like the Thunder, you got teams like the Cavs who are making names for themselves. Up until about 2 months ago, you could have been talking about the Rockets and the beautiful story around that with their young team.
I'm being wrong. The Warriors are doing great. But that's because you fools on other networks, which we going to become fools next year. We be working on that network. But Oklahoma City, first of all, between that and this lame LeBron-Michael Jordan debate, which is lame. I've said for years, the only people talk about LeBron and Michael is people on television who got no talent to talk about anything else. I've been saying that for years. I ain't hanging on to the 90s.
I'm going to wrap this video up by saying, I think both sides deserve some criticism, but more so on Stephen A. Smith's side, because the point is, you all create narratives and you run with it, and you prove LeBron James right when you start off the show today talking about Stephen A. Smith and Charles Barkley instead of talking about sports. You prove him right when LeBron James does nothing wrong. The Lakers are surging when a lot of people didn't think they were going to surge since the Luka trade. But the moment LeBron James comments on Anthony Edwards' statements, all of a sudden, that's how you're going to open the show up instead of talking about Steph Curry's 50-point game the night before. You're proving his point.
You know something? I was looking forward to today. And you know why I was looking forward to today? Because Steph Curry last night. Did you see that performance? You see those threes? It was 12 of them last night, ladies and gentlemen, in Orlando. The baby face assassin, the greatest shooter God has ever created, put on an absolute show, 56 points. We were supposed to be celebrating that. That's what we were going to lead the show with until LeBron James opened his mouth.
We understand that negativity sells. We understand that you're probably going to get more clicks if you talk about the LeBron MJ debate, if you talk about LeBron, as opposed to talking about the Cavaliers. So while there's two sides of the same coin, there's two things can be true at the same time. I 100% understand LeBron as a father stepping up and saying something on behalf of his son and checking Stephen A. and seeing if he's going to have that same energy in person, which it turns out he didn't. I guarantee you, Stephen A. going to have something a little bit different to say on his show later today. Y'all up in the comment section, tell me what you think, what your thoughts are about all of this. I'm Demetrius. I go by DD. That's all for this, man. Until next time. Peace.
Oh, yeah. DD got a podcast.